Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I hope everyone is doing well here. Thank you for being on time. Thank you for all your greetings. I'm very happy to come here again, and I even have to arrange, making it on this time because I have been involved and I continue to be involved in a number of activities. Okay. So Natalie, Si Mustafa, Athena, Fatima Salam, Dua, Saeed, Mr. Saeed, how are you? Everyone, how are you? Everyone, in fact, okay. So I'm just in a hurry. Okay, أستاذة زينب, Athena, Nuni, Nunus, الاعتماد أهلا وسهلا. How is the US? في geek, أهلا وسهلا. Hamza, hello everyone. I'm very glad you have made it again here. On the in the post in the announcement, I made the point that we will be discussing only language, but because I know there will be questions in relation to or that relate to didactics, so we can have 50% of our meeting here. We can allocate 50% of this live to questions relating to language, and the other 50% to questions relating to the didactics of the English language. So I would like to thank you sincerely for being faithful to this live, and I continue to advise you that even after the test, after the exam has taken place, you can come back to this channel. If you believe in lifetime learning, we will learn from each other. I'm not saying that I am source of knowledge. No, I do not impart knowledge. I'm not a source of knowledge. We are a source of knowledge because we can learn from each other, and we can learn from our mistakes. We can learn from we need to seize the opportunity to learn, because this is life, and that sometimes the information that you learn will not be useful only because you will be a teacher or because you will need a job. No, sometimes it's even your pride when you are in the midst of a number of people. An issue might break up, and people can respect you for your contribution to the discussion. And you see, so it's really amazing when you. And anyway, there is some. It's very entertaining to get more knowledge, not in a painful way, of course. You really need to feel that you are enjoying what you are doing. Okay, my dear friends, do you think that we need to wait for some more minutes before more of our friends join us? The slides are ready. All I need to do is just upload them, and the race will start. But could you possibly share this live with the people you think can be interested in it? If you can, please do. I know that Natalie and Dr. Mustafa, Murshid are, have since day one, they were fans of my person, my humble person, and Zineb Inas, let's not forget her. زينب إيناس أستاذ زينب المحترمة الله يحفظها الله يحفظكم كاملين. She has been sharing my videos widely. Of course, I know it's in respect to my humble person, and I cannot be more grateful. Okay, Dr. Buknifi, أهلا وسهلا. Even Si Muhammad, keeps sharing. I noticed that you have. See who else oversharing. Rida Al-Ghandour, I don't know if he's with us here. Bilal Zagura, and all these nice people. And I apologize if I forget anyone. Anyway, 27 friends are already here. Hopefully, more friends will appear, will show up. Thank you, everyone. The friends who have just shown up. سي جمال سي بوكنيفي ضحى عبد النبي أمين عوين عبد النبي بن عبو and عثمان ولا خوش أزول جماعة يعني سي عثمان ولا منزكين أهلا سي محمد مهنا. Oh my god, سي محمد مهنا, I have not answered. You sent me a message, so من هذا المنبر can اعتذر because I don't know. Sometimes you receive too many messages at one go, and it becomes really hard. But Si Mohammed, you could have phoned me, without Okay. Anyway, I will respond very soon, Si Mohammed. My apologies. Okay. So, Si Mustafa Ahmed and Dr. Sami Mustafir as well. Yes, they do. They do. That's true. Thank you, Si Mustafa, for, I even apologize to the people who, because these are my friends, they will not be, disappointed in me if I forget to mention their names. They know that I do hold them in very high esteem. 32 friends are here, and I think this is enough of a number for us to start, unless you have a preliminary question on language or didactics, or let's leave this until the end if we have enough time and enough energy. So if the number does not go up, we will start. For me, that's enough. So if more people come, that's fine. That's so much the better. If not, so 32 is a reasonable number for such a live session, right? Yeah, thank you, Cesare. Okay, the number is fixed, but unfortunately, again, you make the serious mistake. عندكم ذاك الارقام مقلوبين. عندي 32 viewers 32 viewers against 23. قلبوا لي هذاك الرقم جوج ثلاثه، خصك تكون ثلاثه جوج باش يكون بحال بحال. Okay, 32 viewers against 23 likes. That's not good. You see, very good. Oh, it's getting up. عندي شي ثلاثه المسمومين واقيلا. I'm just joking. واقيلا ثلاثه المسمومين ولا جو سي با. هو يحطوا لايك جو سي با. I don't know why, but anyway, just try to increase the likes there, and life will be good anyway. It looks like I need to wipe my glasses. Yeah, there is something I can use, a tissue. No, I will not be comfortable, my friends. So let me just find a way of wiping my glasses and come back. All right. Yalla, Bismillah. Yeah. Okay, my friends, let me start with the first slide without much ado, or with no further ado. So let me wait a minute. Okay, language one. So let's start with language to do some mental gymnastics, and then because the questions continue into pedagogy and didactics, so you don't need to worry. So we will have to cover both today. This is a recent test. I think it's just last year or 2 years ago. Let me check. This one is yeah, that's 2019. Quite recent. So the questions may not depart from what you have in here. Not necessarily the same questions, of course. Anyway, let me upload this, and there you go, my friends. The question asks us here. Nihad Ughulu, yes, Nihad, yes. There is more than enough time, to prepare. If only you could get hold of recently administered exams, and you get training. One thing, let me give you one piece of advice, my friends. Yes, there is more than enough time. I repeat, yes, there is more than enough time. One piece of advice, ladies and gentlemen, is to have as many previous exams as possible and try to burn the midnight oil. That is to say, work by day, work by night, and have this as your priority. And you can, you have enough, you should find enough time to sleep, however, but you may cancel other activities because it should be your priority. If you do that, you are you are highly likely to answer, to achieve or to score well on the next entrance exam. Why? Because that exam will not depart from these questions, especially because you don't have just one or two questions. You have 67. No, no, it's more. Sometimes 120 questions. Just imagine you work, on all these questions. You see, I would suggest that you work on them, you check the corrections, you get sure, you discuss with the people you think you discuss it, and move on to the previous year, move on to the previous year, and come back to the other year. This way, the information will be hammered in your mind, and you will certainly, there is a very high likelihood that the questions you will get will be related somehow to this. If not the same questions, if not the same items, then of course you will get inspired. Believe me. Okay. Very nice. So let's start, please, with the first question. The first question asks us to underline the mistakes and correct them in the space provided. So so that's question 21. Why question 21? Because questions 20, 19, etc., they are for reading comprehension. And I'm still considering ways of covering with you reading comprehension because there are certain strategies that I need to share with you. All right? So expect that very soon, inshallah. Okay, so the question, question 21, if you would like to answer, 21, what is the mistake in the biggest freshwater lake in the world is the lake Baikal in Russia? Athena, okay, says that. That's good, Dia. Atimad, very good. Okay, Dia, very good. Athena, very good. We need two more and then no more. Okay. All right, never mind. What is the rule here, my friends? What is the rule here? The rule for the existence of is one of the rules of the definite article. So there are many cases where the should be present, and there are many cases where the should not be present. Okay. So when you're talking about these geographical locations, while you can say the Himalayas, the Alps, these are called mountain ranges. For mountain ranges, we need the definite article. But when we have a specific name of a specific place, we do not need the definite article. So I saw the lake, it's okay. But I visited the lake is okay. But I visited Lake Baikal. That's the correct one. You don't need the Lake Baikal because definiteness. شوف علاش, you might wonder why, because grammar is logical. So definiteness here is expressed by the definition or the specification of the name of the lake. So it's like, look at this. It's like we have the last name here is Nihad. Nihad, you cannot say the Nihad. All right, that's the thing. So it's Lake Baikal, as if you're naming, you are giving it a name. And so you have Mount Tubqal, not the Mount Tubqal. Okay, I climbed the mountain. The is fine, but Mount Tubqal, because it has a name, it does not need the definite article. Is that fine, ladies and gentlemen? So I visited Dayat Awa Lake, just like that, or the Lake Dayat Awa, for example. So you've got to know this, ladies and gentlemen. It's one of the basic rules. What about the lake being capitalized in this? Okay, in this sentence, yes, it should be capitalized because it looks like. You remember when I told you, but that's a very good question, Shakir. Thank you for asking it, by the way. That's a very legitimate question. A while ago, I gave the example of Nihad. Yes or no? We cannot call her the Nihad, okay? Because it's a name, a proper name. That's the case here. It's a proper name, just like that. A proper noun. Sorry, a proper noun. That has this feature of a name. So here we are not talking the lake here. Lake is no longer the geographic. It's the name. It's the name of a place. It's like saying Sidi Sliman. It's like saying Wujda. Huh? You understand? So I visited Wujda. You cannot say I visited the Sidi Sliman, for example. You understand or no? قلعة صراغنا. Wait a minute. قلعة صراغنا. You cannot say I visited the قلعة صراغنا, for example. It's because it's a name, just like that. All right. So it should be capitalized because it's part of the proper noun. Part of the proper noun. All right. Very good. أهلا سي أشرف. Hello, my friends. Okay, it's part of the lake's name. Thank you very much. Look, ladies and gentlemen, look at this. I saw the President of the United States. I saw the President of the United States. But if you mention the name of the President, you don't need the article. I saw President, okay? Trump, President Trump, President Obama, President Reagan, etc. Is that fine, ladies and gentlemen? So here, and President Obama P is capitalized as well. You see? Very nice. So let's move on, ladies and gentlemen. Number 22, we were very pleased when our friends Hendersons became our neighbors. What is the correction here for number 22? Doha says the Hendersons, as well as Athena says that as well. Okay, any other, is there any mistake that you suspect other than this, for example? Or is it okay? You are not active, my friends. The 51 friends have joined, but the reactions are very few. Too few. Yeah, we have to add the. Is there anyone who can tell me why this addition of the? Okay, anyway, let me say it so maybe we can gain some time. When you're talking about a family, when you're referring to a family, it's habitual in English to use the family name with a definite article. Yes, that's true. Yeah, all your answers are great. You know, just imagine we have someone. Let's say we have Ashraf Bihmidi. Let's take that name. Just imagine, you know, I invite Ashraf for lunch, and I say I have invited Mr. Bihmidi. All right, very good. Now imagine I invite Ashraf, his wife, his kids. Now I have invited the family, so I say I have invited the Bihmidins. And by the way, that's also like French. J'ai invité les Bihmidines. Ça se dit comme ça en français. So that's true. So the general rule is, Ahlan Si Ahmed, thank you. Well, we mean the family. So the rule here is to use the family name plus the definite article. طيب, سالينا هذه. Thank you. All right. Number 23. While walking on the sidewalk, Mary found a sparkly girl's bracelet. So where is the mistake here? وكان بعد كاين غير داك ناخذ اباف نتخباو فيها. هذه مفروشات. You have to find the mistake. Just joke. All right. Tell me, please. Is it the adjective order or something else? Stormy weather has joined. Amid girls, as sparkly already implies a girly bracelet. That's okay. Yeah. Stormy weather. What do you mean by English? Tell us, please. We were while walking. No, we were. Look, my friends. While walking on the sidewalk is correct. While we were walking on the sidewalk is also correct. هنا راه خصنا نفتح واحد القوس إلا بغيتو. إلا ما بغيتوش on continue. what do we call a situation where there is a possibility to say while walking on the sidewalk instead of while we were walking on the sidewalk? Anyway, this is a phenomenon. Yeah, thank you. This is a phenomenon referred to as a reduced clause. Reduced clause. Okay. What does reduced clause? Reduced, c'est réduite. Hein? Réduite. A reduced clause is when you say while he was the man who is standing there, you say the man standing there. That's a reduced clause, all right? The man standing there is my friend. So this happens, this type of reduced clause occurs in certain, subordinate clauses, like here, while we were. So what do? We delete the subject of that subordinate clause and we delete the auxiliary. That's what we did here. On a réduit, hein? Cette partie de la phrase. Donc, we have reduced the clause. So that's why we refer to this as a reduced clause. While walking on the sidewalk, etc. While watching your academic companion, I got fed up and I shut the computer. Or while watching your academic companion, my phone rang and I went out. And so never to return to your academic companion. اوكي واش فهمتوا هادشي ديال ريدوست كلوز ولا مازال؟ دونك ريدوست كلوز for those of you هذا غير من باب الاستفاده، ما كنشرحوش هادشي، لا علاقه له بصحه السؤال او بخطئه. Okay, so we can notice reduced clauses also in regard or with regard to certain when you have an adjective, for example, although she was happy, it can be reduced as although happy. Although happy. Never mind. Thank you. Here, now let's move on to the correction after you have suggested a number of answers that the correct to the best of my knowledge. But anyway, this is a spontaneous reaction to these questions. So I would agree with people like Etimad, because I know Mariam Zizou, for example, but I can't get hold of what the others wrote. But then Mary found sparkly is what? That's an adjective. It means it's glittering, it's sparkly. Okay? What was sparkly? A bracelet. Is it a bracelet for boys or a bracelet for girls? So it's a girl's bracelet. It's like men apostrophe z wear, but M-E-N parce que c'est un pluriel. You understand or no? So we have it's a bracelet for girls. So it's a girl's bracelet. Therefore, you have the S and then the apostrophe, not apostrophe and then the S. The S and the apostrophe, like apostrophe. Okay? So is that fine? So Miriam, that's fine. Do you agree, ladies and gentlemen, with these things? Understood. Thank you, Dua. Thank you. Very good. All right. Very nice. All right. It's good. Now, let's move on to 24. Ladies and gentlemen, I am not used to get up early in the morning. The correction is I'm not used to get up early in the morning. Very good. Can I prove what I said a while ago? Ladies and gentlemen, let me prove what I said a while ago. Just in one of the corrections that one of our lives, maybe the day before yesterday, we brought up an example like this one here with the word accustomed to, and we say I am used to doing. As you can see, these questions repeat. We also talked about something like girls bracelet, a noun like that for the plural. I remember I talked about the plural and the apostrophe. I do remember I talked about that. So as you can see, these questions recur in different forms. They will certainly recur in language in the language part, but it will also recur in the didactics part. Solution: do as many exercises as possible and as many times as possible per exercise. عرفتي تمشيو للإكزامان bien préparé. You see؟ عرفتي يجمعوا هاد لي زيكزامان كاملين l'attaque. Yes, please. Yes, Ashraf. Now, let's move on, please, to... So here, the answer for question 24, it's I am not used to getting up early. This usually confuses, if we have students here who are still maybe in their early years, I am used to plus ing means I am accustomed to, I am familiar with, I'm getting, okay with. This is different from I used to. I used to plus bare infinitive. I used to live, I used to smoke, I used to drive, I used to... You see? Good. Very nice. For example, when I was an adolescent, I used to ride a motorcycle or whatever. Never mind. So I'm not used to. So we are done with 24. 25. At the end, Sue was able to finish her homework. What would be the correct choice here? برافو عليكم. العلماء معي هنايا. That's excellent. So we say in the end or at the end of. عقلوا عليها لأن يقدر شي exam يقول لكم in the end of. You see? Jot this down, please. We say in the end, we say at the end of. In the same vein, we say, you say at the beginning of, but you can also say in the beginning. So beginning or end, depending on whether you have off or not. Very good. Thank you, Ahmed. You explained that in a nice way. Very good. That's true. Ah, vous êtes bien préparés. Mashallah alaikum. Yalla, question numéro 26. 26. The 26th question, we have Sami works very hardly. He is a workaholic. This is a very common mistake. Ironically, you may hear this also among Chinas. Okay, people with a high degree and people who are working on the doctorate, the masters, you can hear these things. I worked hardly on this. Since you worked hardly on this. You see? Question. Do you work hard or do you hardly work? They are opposites. I hardly work is the opposite of I work hard. So the adverb from hard is hard and hardly means something else. Are you working hard or hardly working? That's true. That's true, Athena. So are you working hard or do you hardly work? Nice. So it should be hard here. I'm very happy you have, hardly is one way of saying barely. Thank you very much. See, apenas in Spanish. All right. Anyway, let me move on to the next question, please. It should be question 27. Let me aggrandize it. And then, okay. Qu'est-ce que je fais? Voilà. Yeah. So, look at this. "27. The resort I went to is an excellent one. I had an..." and then you have space, time during my vacation. Do we say, I had an inevitable time, I had an incredible time, an inconsolable time, or an indefinable time? Obviously, you know the answer here. All of you are saying it's B, of course. So that's the collocation. To describe a good moment, a good time is Say an incredible time. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It was done. There is no disagreement. For C, inconsolable, it comes from console. Okay, to console means it was not really comfortable. Let me see what the dictionary will give you here. Not so it's a negative thing. That's true. So it's exactly what I am reading here. It's unable to be comforted or soothed. You see, for example, you can say that somebody's smile can easily console you. It's very consoling. You can talk about a consoling smile. Another synonym for consoling is solacing, to solace. Ça s'écrit S-O-L-A-C-E. Solacing, to console and to solace, to soothe pain. So it was inconsolable. I'm afraid this is not really the term. So it's incredible. Can you define them? Define what? So inevitable. You know what inevitable means? Inevitable means something you cannot escape. It's مقدر عليك. Okay, very good. So it's something that is inevitable. Works there, but the collocation is incredible. Absolutely, see Ashraf. Here, remember that in multiple choice questions, there will always be a conflict between two candidates. But in your case, you choose the one that is optimal, the one that is the best in comparison to the others. Very good. That's true. That's true. All right. Nice. It's unavoidable. See, we can also say inéluctable. Et c'est inéluctable en français. Avec un destin, le destin, son destin est inéluctable. Okay, never mind. Let's move on, ladies and gentlemen. 28. Let's move on to 28. I had been sitting for myself, only myself, by myself, in my own. All of you say it's C. They are very smart, the ones who made these distractors here, because you have only myself is a transfer from Moroccan Arabic. غير أنا كنت كصغير بوحدي غير أنا. All right, okay, so you are right, by myself. By myself, another way of saying by myself is on my own, but you have here in my own. So thank you. Maryam, sorry for being late, please. Which exam are you working on? On the 2019, 2019. Okay, 2019. Very good. So let's move on, please, to 29. The primary concern of a businessman looking for someone for a job is to find the best qualified person. Is it? Yeah, that's true. That's true, Ashraf. All right. أو معوتني كل شيء very nice. Yeah, because you have the word to hire and to fire. You know that. Yeah, this is higher. Absolutely. It's A. So since there is no discussion about this, there is no problem. So we move on. So for number 30, Alan's new job is, and then you have then his last one. He gets more money and he works fewer hours. Is it quite better, rather good, pretty good, rather better? Here, automatically, you have to exclude two and keep two. Okay, it's quite better than the last one. Quite here emphasizes, but also rather better. It's rather better, but it's rare to use this, so we go for A, of course. Again, it's a matter of collocations. This is what you would usually hear. It's quite better than, etc. All right, nice. Number 31, please. What do you, and then you have space, to do about the problem now that the solution has failed? So what do you, yes, that's comparative. So here for 31, what do you intend? Very good. That's intent. Very good. Yes, that's excellent. شكون يقول لي لو سينونيم ديال intend هنايا؟ يلا. I would like to. That's a challenge, right? It's a challenge for you. You never know. You might meet the word one day. Plan is not intend. Yeah, there are grammar books that say you use rather for when you have a negative thought. That's true. Willing, no. Plan is not intent. Plan is not intent. After you have the intention, you move to the stage of no 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 no. لا هذيك تعني intent ديال بصح. Okay. Can I help you? Intend comes from واش شوف ام جي فاميلي واش الا كانت وانت غنسولك لا ما غنسولكش على وانت نو نو مريم والله ما نسولي الا كانت وانت وانت اوكي اوكي intend comes from intention كاينه ولا ما كايناش كاينه لا ماشي expect لا 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 واخا intend like purpose very good دابا what's the verb that would come from purpose you see it aim yes all right so Fatima قالت لك reckon no it's not reckon it's to purport the verb from purpose is to purport you can say this essay purports to describe this thesis purports to investigate I don't know it means it has for a purpose this and this and this let me write purport here to Voilà, c'est Ashraf كتبها لينا. Thank you, Ashraf. Very good. This is not related, but it's just an additional piece of information. As you can see with your academic companion, there is always something new to learn. Okay? You are welcome, my dear friends. You are welcome. And this is what I do in my classes, in my classrooms, every now and then. Even if my attention is directed to the discussion of an idea, once I use something that comes up naturally, and I think I have my students here, I stop and say, ايش كتعني هذه بعدا هي الأولى. I spend some time on it and then come back to the idea, etc. All right? When I ask my students whether these digressions are good or not, they just find it amazing. They like it. Okay. Thank you. And it's habitual for me to stop at every single grammar or vocabulary item that I believe my students may not know. Okay? Intentionality in linguistic philosophy, that's true. That's that's a very far-fetched thing, and it's a very advanced term, actually. Okay. Thank you, Mustafa, for, yeah, there is this intentionality. Yes, that's true. Okay, very nice. So let's move on, ladies and gentlemen. So here it's intent, of course. Number 32, you have space I am writing is to complain about the poor standard إلى آخره. So what is it? Ahmed says it's A, Ashraf A, Athena A. Yes, A. كل شيء A. Very good. حمزة دوحة فاطمة الزهراء. Very good. يلا كل شيء A. دابا أنا كنشوف واش كاين شي حد مشى جهة أخرى. Everyone is saying it's A, and actually it is A. Thank you. All of you agree, which means that you are great grammarians. علاش يكون عندكم الامل والسيلف كونفيدنس وهذا you are doing great. علاش كنقول لكم you are doing great؟ كنقول لكم you are doing great حيت شفت الناس في النيفو اللي هو كبار بزاف من البي اي هولدرز اللي ما يقدر يحل لك مشكل بسيط ما يقدرش يحل. Bon, c'est très bien déjà. ما شاء الله عليكم. Thank you. So let's move on. So it's the reason why. All right, it's fine. Nadira says the quirks. These are the quirks. All right. Nadira says, please, teacher. Nadira, before we move on to the next question, tell us, Nadira, what the problem is. Nadira يمكن عندها connection ثقيلة. Anyway, we continue and we will see what her question is. Never mind. Okay. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's just amazing. Okay, very nice. So let's move on, please, with the other question. Waste is, that's 33. Okay, waste is it negligible, unaffordable, avoidable, inevitable consequence of a society which consumes more than, etc. Moline D. Absolutely, absolutely. It's D. It's D. You can't avoid it. Yeah, something which we talked about it just a while ago again. So it's D. You are right. It's something that you cannot escape. It's there. Why? Because we have waste is the inevitable consequence. It means there is no other option. It is just this consequence of a society which consumes more than any nation. All right. So it's here inevitable, unavoidable. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Now let's move on to question 34. From question 34 onwards, from question 34, let me prepare it. 34 هيا. Already prepared. Upload question 34. Yalla, very nice. Question 34. All right. So we have iron, and then we have space. I didn't pass the examination, but I'll do better next time. So which one? MashaAllah alaikum. Absolutely. Absolutely. I fully agree. Absolutely. Very good. Very good. You are very competent. MashaAllah alaikum. Um, Here, there is something that I would like to draw your attention to. The people who constructed the test had choice A. And this is a very famous mistake, a very, widespread transfer, because they say in French, this comes from French, je suis déçu. Je suis déçu, j'étais déçu, tu m'as déçu. Okay, that's French. But in English, we don't say I am deceived. Deceived means something else in English. Okay? Here it's I am disappointed. Donc, the translation of je suis déçu, j'étais déçu, it's I was disappointed, not deceived. Okay? So here you have to pay attention. It means something else in English. To deceive someone is to swindle someone, is to maybe to play what we call some sort of trickery to get fooled by someone. That's true. Okay? You say you will win a phone, for example, and you take his money and then leave. That's this deception. Okay, very nice. Thank you. These are false friends. This is a very good example of false friends. Okay, so they installed or they have installed surveillance cameras to any possible robbery. Is it to discard, or is it to prevent, or to hinder, or to resist? Wow, very good, very good. This competes somehow with hinder, but hinder is certainly not the word. Why? Because hinder means just to reduce maybe the effect of to a large extent. So, but prevent, it's stop, or prevent means stop from occurring. You stop something before it occurs, so that's preventing. Thank you very much. That's correct, of course. Now, move on, please, to question 36. We've been, and then we have space. We have a space there. We've been, we've been doing business, we've been making business, we've been dealing business, or we've been supplying business? Voilà. We have some little disagreement here between do and make. I have to switch off that fan there because I have started to feel dizzy, and then come back to you. Okay, so let me go this way. Okay, which one, please, ladies and gentlemen? Is it to do or to make? It's A, it's to do, because the collocation is I will do business. We don't say to make a business, to make money. Yes, but to do business. Okay, so let's move on, my friends. Many young people, can we move on, please? That's not, yes, do it. That's true. Okay. Fadi Anzel, thank you. 37, you have many young people practice extreme sports for the of excitement. Do we say for the reason of excitement, for the motive excitement, for the cause of excitement, or for the sake of excitement? You see? For the reason of excitement is a little bit awkward. It might be a choice with a lot of reservation if we did not have sake. Now, for the sake of, that's the expression. For the sake of. Okay? Some study for the sake of getting a job, some study for just for the sake of knowledge, etc. So that's D. Again, it's a collocation. Thank you. So the old lady, a well before her death. Let me let you know what choice D is. It had a well. Had a well. Is it to have a well? What is, we don't see option D. Option D is to have. Okay? Have a well. Do we say to make a well, to have a well? Okay? Are important to answer such questions. That's true. Yeah, we have to be aware of the chance, of course. Yeah, the most natural interpret. Here you need to know what a will is. So we have an old lady, and we have before her death, which means that there was some conscious course of action that she took in regard to what she possesses. Maybe to bequeath. That's the verb, to bequeath her property to someone in the family. So here we say we're talking about making a will. She made a will before her death. It means she brought, a notary and or someone or a lawyer or whatever, and she signed a document that her property will go to so and so. Very good. That's true. That's true. That's true, Cesare. All right. Made. So let's move on to question 39 and above. Yeah, question 39. Yeah, very nice. Question 39 says this. All right. Question 39. Question 39. ياك واضحة عندكم هنا يمكن واش بغيتو نكبرها ولا غنخليها هكا. So I think I will, it's fine. Since you answered, it's fine. So you have a space. So we have I space, go to the cinema, then study English. Do we say I would rather go to the cinema? I would prefer go to the cinema. I would need go to the cinema. I should go to the cinema than. Of course, there is no denying the fact that it should be a would rather or simply apostrophe d rather. That's true, Sufyan. It's like a testimony or testament, something that is signed to prove or to show, the beneficiary from the will. Okay, so that's true. For prefer, we have to have two. Should does not fit because here it's a preference because she does not fit because of that there. So rather we have er for rather. So that's why we have then. So it's a without further ado. Thank you very much. Number 40. If you'd explained your problem to me, I space to help you. Is it I was able to help you? I will have been able to help you. I would have been able to help you. I could have to help you. المجتهدون قالوا سي تبارك الله عليكم. Yeah, very good. A clear case of conditional type 3. This is where it is best manifested. It's in choice C. Thank you very much. Very good. Okay, number 41, please. Number 41. I wonder why they haven't arrived yet. I told Jim how to get there, but perhaps I What's that? Is it I should have given him a map? I had because, but perhaps I had to give him a map. I ought to give him a map. I must have given him a map. هنا كاين شويه ديال اوكي. ألم أقل لكم أن الأسئلة تتكرر؟ كتعاود الأسئلة، قلتها لكم الأسئلة كتعاود، هذا الشيء هضرنا عليه. You see؟ أوكي. الناس اللي قالوا سي فري it's that's a clear case. What's the situation here? The situation, for example, you have a guest, you مثلا you told him that I live near this station and you left him to his own devices and you wait and he has not arrived and you regret. You say كان عليا I made a mistake, كان عليا نعطيه اللوكاليزاسيون ولا الماب ولا فهمتيني. Voila. So we say, I should have given him, etc. And this is called a mistake in the past. Yeah, it's a regret for having made a mistake in the past. Donc أحسن حاجة الطريقة هي كنسميوها a mistake in the past. A mistake in the past. Okay? Someone, a dear one to you, someone dear to you, family member, I don't know, you tell him that, for example, yesterday I couldn't take the train because I forgot my wallet, for example, at home. So I just took, I don't know, I did not travel. يقول كان عليك تعيط لي، راه درتي خطأ في الباسي، دونك درتي خطأ. You should have called me. Okay? So I hope you understand me in this case. Please tell me if لا ماشي blaming. It's blaming for a past mistake. صحيح. There is a blame. There is some sort of a blame. But it's more to say that you have made a mistake in the past. You should have. صافي متفقين على هاد should have, the structure. It may show up again in exams. صافي ما وصلناش ل 42 وقيله، احنا باقينا في 41 ماي فريند احمد، باقينا خويا في 41. Alors tell me that you understand this for 41. You have no problem with that. It's clear. Thank you. All right. Thank you, Si Hassan. Okay, very good. Okay. So now let's move on to 42. 42, you have, when I was at the cinema, I was surprised. Okay. Kids smoking cigarettes. Is it? I was surprised for seeing. I was surprised that I saw, or at seeing, or to see. So 42. All of you are لا 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 حمزه اخويا حمزه الله يحفظك، كتب لي لا ليتر، رايت ذا ليتر بحال اللي داروا خوتك كاملين. هذا باش يسهل عليا نقارن لي ريبونس. اوكي دايوغ هذاك سين سي با it's not هذا. دونك ça c'est to see, it's D. For 42 it's D. I was surprised to see you, I was surprised, etc. I was pleased to have you as a friend. I was, I was surprised to discover that, etc. You are not a good friend. Excuse these spontaneous example, but it's D here, of course, to see. All right, very good. Now let's move on to 34, please, or 43. Sorry, 43. She, and then we have a space. Unwell for several days when she was taken to hospital. A. Nice. Amazing. This is amazing. You see? So it's she had been feeling It's the past perfect continuous. Why continuous? Because it's a state of unwell, feeling unwell. We have to. It's one way of stressing that the duration was felt and was was somehow heavy on the patient. So it's one way of stressing it. But of course, you have for several days when she was taken to hospital. So she was taken on Monday, and she had been feeling unwell since the previous maybe Tuesday or whatever. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday she was taken to hospital. Very good. Very nice. That's the key word, Hamza. Thank you. Absolutely. All right. So number 44. I wish the teacher asked more about the exam before it took place. يلا. Number 44. 44. يلا المجتهدون 44. يلا زيد موالين سي. تبارك الله عليكم. Amazing. No, these are amazing answers. ما شاء الله عليكم كاملين الله يحفظكم. Very good answers. So I wish دايو عندي I wish. See, my friends, look at this. For those of you who don't understand this, I have I wish. غير نقرا غير I wish. If I read just I wish, then in my mind I will wait and see. شتي الفعل يكون في لو بريزون. اوكي لا سيتوياسيون تكون في لو بريزون. راه ديجا عندي simple past تما. بالحق انا دابا لا سيتوياسيون عندي في لو باسي. دونك سي past perfect. Absolutely. So I wish the teacher had told us more about the exam before it took place. Perfect. That's really nice. Now let's move on to 45, but not probably here. Okay, let me. So 45 هيا. نكبرها شوية هكا. يلا very good. 13 et puis هيا. So 44 says ما أعرف واش تقدروا تقراوها ولا لا. I think you can, right? أنا لا I can't read. So can you read it, please? Tell me, confirm that you can read it, please. Say yes if you can read line 1. Yes, okay, very good. Okay. أنا غادي نقرا هنايا. So he had a broken leg. He continued to go to class. Do we say, nevertheless, in spite of the fact that he had a broken leg, he continued to go, or in spite of he had a broken leg? Because he had a broken leg. Which one, please? Number 45 should be 45. Let's نشوف. Very good. Bravo. ياسير ما عرفتش اخويا واش كتهضر على 45 ولا على رقم اخر. الله يخليك كتب لنا الرقم بحال خوتك. Okay, so that's true. It's B 40 لا والو انجلش كلاس ما محسوبش داكشي. لا والو مريم زيزو نو كتبوا لي الرقم عافاكم. كتبوا لي الرقم بليز هيلب مي. لان انتم ربما كتجاوبوا على شي سؤال اخر باسكو البروبليم ديال لا كونيكسيون. لا والو كتب 45 كتب حداها الرقم ما غتخسري والو. سو سوري. باش ننظموا هذا الشيء وصافي الله يحفظكم لان هذا الشيء غيبقى في هذا في اليوتيوب الى اخره. It's good to have things in order. Okay, my friends. All right. So, nevertheless, of course, is not possible because nevertheless has to connect two full sentences. Okay. English class, write the number. English class, write the number, please. كل شيء خصكم تكتبوا الرقم الله يخليكم. I will not read the answers that do not have the number and the letter. Okay, let's move on, please. So Jane was born September 9th. John, number 46. John was born September 9th. On September the 9th. أهلا سي بكر. مرحبا بك. Very good. So it's on. What is it that makes it on September the 9th, not in September the 9th? Of course, because September, is connected to a date. So we have a date next to September. And therefore, so what is considered here? So what we have here, the whole thing is a day. They are referring to a day. Okay? Yeah, that's true. No, that's true. A specific date, dua, that's true. That's true, Abu Bakr. Thank you, Dia, as well. And I apologize to the people whose answers I could not read. Very good. Thank you very much. What if we have just September without the name? The ninth. In that case, it should be in September rather than on September the 9th. So we have 47. He is a man. He is a man, 47. 47 now. 47. He is a man devoid all fine feelings. Absolutely. Devoid of. Devoid of. We can also say divest of. We can also say bereft of. These are synonyms. Okay, but you have say devoid of. It's better because bereft of means someone bereaved them of something, but here it's devoid of. Okay, thank you. That's true. That's true. Very good. For 48, IK. Brad Pitt at that big hotel 2 years ago. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Another way of saying I came across is I ran into. The more appropriate word would be ran, the verb to run into someone. It means I accidentally met him. So thank you very much for this. Number 49, you have they, and then you have space. Us just because we're poor. Is it they look down at us? Look down for us, look down on us, look down over us. Which one? Yeah, that's bump into Si Mustafa. Type what? Ahmed, you mean the synonyms, I think. So here, yes, that's 49C. So you have divest of, and then you have bereft of, but there are some very slight you see differences, but you can still use them interchangeably. So that's true. 49 is C. It's to look down someone means to belittle him, yes, Ahmed, and to despise him, to underestimate him. Okay, very good. That's the idea. We can also say look down upon someone. Yeah, that's a matter of style, but it's better to say the natural expression is to look down on rather than upon. Some versions of the language would suggest upon, but it's not really common in this regard because the true expression, the correct one, the most widely used is look down on. Okay, number 50. He couldn't, and then we have space. The thought of leaving his hometown forever. Is it he couldn't support the thought? He couldn't bear the thought. He couldn't think the thought. He couldn't hold the thought. الله يتوى علينا هاد الناس هادو. ما شاء الله عليكم. That's B. شوف. Imagine we didn't have bear. Imagine we had another word than bear. In this case, support would be correct. Yes or no? But, because support, I can support something, I can't bear something. They look like synonyms on the face of it. But from a purely collocational perspective, it's to bear the thought. Maybe something abstract, something I can't bear all these problems. See? Okay? So here it's bear the thought. I couldn't bear the thought of, etc. Yeah, that's a collocation. Thank you very much. Let's move on to the other questions if you are not tired. In my case, I am very tired, but we will continue in any case. All right. Nice. 50 هاي 51. Now the questions concerning language are over. And now we go to pedagogy and didactics. So let's, Bismillah. Yalla. Very nice. Okay, so let's move on. We have a situation here where we are supposed to match questions with letters. Teaching methodology. So match each concept to its appropriate definition. Fine. We have words like recycling, learner training, learner-centeredness, editing, chunks, and drills. So we will see if we know these words, it means that we will be able to match. So let me see what you will do while I'll sip from my bottle and from my coffee as well. Take some time. I think it needs some time, of course. It needs some time. It needs some time. You see, let's maybe take 2 minutes. You have to read carefully, all of them. Yeah, would you like us to do them one by one? It's better. Okay, so let's see. For 51, we have the word recycling. What is recycling in English language pedagogy, in language pedagogy in general? It's a teaching method in which teachers review vocabulary or skills that they have already taught by including them in meaningful activities in the subsequent lesson. It means that today you have taught, for example, you have taught the lack of the definite article with regard to abstract nouns. مثلا كتقول لهم the abstract nouns, not like French, not like Arabic, they don't take the definite article, they don't take any article in fact. So you say brotherhood, you say friendship, etc. Not the brotherhood, la fraternité. So and you taught words like inevitable, you taught words like deprived of إلى آخره. You teach them on Monday, these things on Monday. Tuesday, you do something relating to writing إلى آخره, but later on you might want to see if they have you see يلا سيدي الناس كتجاوب 52 I'm just babbling here like a parrot. المهم recycling عارفينه. Move on. Yalla, move on. 52, learner training. What is learner training? Yalla, move on to learner training. Yalla, 52, learner training means what? Take some time to find learner training. لكن شي إخوان ما شورهمش المهم يلقاو لا ريبونس هكا عون ربي صافي. Anyway, yeah, pas de problème. Anyway, I'm already tired. Okay, so learner training is what? It's learner training is we are learning here, we are exchanging ideas. We might have things that come from you that might be of use. So why rush? غادي تجي باش نشوفوا هذه corresponds to this ما كاين learning لا والو فاتك. اسمح لي. Good learning is where you really understand and you get involved. Never mind. So 52 هما مشاو الناس مشاو 53 كاع مشكله. Yes, يا حمزة, that's not a competition. وشتي هاد الزربة والله حتى تخرج عليكم. شتي الناس كومبيتون ماشي, ولكن هاد الزربة راه غتخرج على الناس كاع. تعلموا تلقاو شوية زعما ديال تقالوا شوية في لي ريبونس ديالكم. راه هاد النوع هذا الاخوان, سمحوا لي زعما ماشي كنسبوا ولا شي حاجه, مي هاد الاخوان هادو اللي كيزربوا راه الا داروا هادشي في ليكزامان راه صافي ما كاين, واخا يعرفوا كلشي الاجوبه. No, it should not be like that. Take some time to reason, read all the options, etc. Anyway, I thought that you learned from yesterday's, advice that you need to, follow and listen, perhaps to, the explanation. هاد النوع هاد الاخوان هادو سمحوا لي, ولكن هادو هما اللي كيكونوا في الدكتوراه وكتكون في شي كونفيرونس كيمشي غير على ود لاتيستاسيون, يمشي يجيب لاتيستاسيون ويحضر كونفيرونس ما حضرهاش ماشي مشكل. And by the way, الاخوان اللي the people who end up in a doctorate, try not to do it this way because that's not a good way of doing it. All right, my friends. Okay. So احنا 52 قلنا 52, يلا رجعوا لنا ل 52, يلا رجعوا لنا 52. شنو هي 52؟ It's a 52 learner training is teaching learners how to best learn. It includes encouraging them to think about how they record vocabulary and how to continue their learning outside of the classroom. That's learner training. Absolutely. Very interesting. Thank you. Now let's move on to question 53. Question 53. Learner-centeredness refers to what? Question 53. 53 corresponds to C. 53 corresponds to C. The approach in which students are actively engaged and the teacher plays the role of the monitor of the classroom or the classroom manager. You hit the nail on the head. That's absolutely right. That's correct. That's true. Okay, very nice. Let's move on. Editing means what for question 54? Editing means what? Editing means what? Editing is part of, so it's related to writing. It's related to writing. So 54, Dia says it corresponds to H. But we have B, the rest say it's B, but we have Hamza saying it's E. Okay. That's not editing. E is not editing. Okay, so let's see if is when learners work on their written product to correct spelling, punctuation, grammar mistakes. Donc, the rest of the sentence. Thank you. Let me read out for you. عفاكم لا أش أنا أقرأ لا أش عندكم. H says is when learners work on their written product to correct spelling, punctuation, and grammar mistakes. Isn't this editing? Isn't this editing? So 54, editing, corresponds to H because after you have produced a piece of writing, you need to look it over and see whether there are mistakes that you have to fix relating to punctuation, typos, maybe, capitalization, and so forth. All right, let's move on, please. What are chunks? That's question number 55. A chunk. What is a chunk? Should language be learned through individual words, or is it better for it to be learned via or through chunks? So a chunk, for 55, a chunk corresponds to D. A chunk is not a strategy. A chunk is part of something, a chunk of something. All right? So chunks are fixed or semi-fixed expressions learned and retrieved as a whole unit and employed in specific occasion, like, for example, look down on is a chunk. You look down on, it's not analyzed individually, atomistically, it's taken as a whole. So this is a chunk, okay? Language comes in the form of chunks. Collocations are examples of chunks. Proverbs are examples of chunks. Idiomatic expression are examples of a chunk. To kick the bucket, which means to die, is a chunk. Why? It's because you need to understand the whole thing to have the intended meaning. Kick plus bucket will not give you, you will fall in the literal sense of the term. We call it in pedagogy chunking. Yeah, chunking the language, that's true. Okay. So these are chunks. How about drills? Drills should remind you of the audiolingual method. Thank you. So Nuni Nunus and Ahmed and Diya say it's F. Okay, drills correspond to F. Of course, drills are exercises used to practice a language item through repetition, gap filling, or matching. Absolutely right. That's amazing. So let's move on to the next slide, please. The next one. Okay, very good. هذا خصكم اسمحوا لي. هذا خصكم تجاوبوا لي عليه. Very good. ها هو. سير على الله. You have that. Thank you, Dua, for the summary so that our friends will follow with us. Thank you so much. I assume that you base that on your answer and my confirmation of that. Thank you. So provide the missing words. This is a gift since you have a word that starts with this specific letter. It helps you a lot. And I guess it's easy. Okay. When you teach English as a foreign language, you will teach vocabulary, pronunciation, and games? No. You will teach, of course, grammar. Grammar, thank you. You will teach grammar. علاش? Because we have vocabulary. These are the components. Vocabulary, okay, pronunciation, and grammar. Very good. You will also cover the four S. That's true. Skills. Ashraf خويا العزيز, we have to do that one by one, please. All right. Cover the four skills, which are reading, writing, listening, and speaking. You will probably use, and then we have 59, m, which generally, m refers to what? What should we have in m? Yes, which generally include student's book. باش عرفناها materials, حيث عندي student's book, workbook, إلى آخره. And of course, there is a beautiful collocation at the end. That's question 60. You may need traditional support such as v. No, Ashraf, no, just one by one, so that we can discuss. Maybe some students can ask questions. We don't know. Visual aids. What are visual aids, my friends? What are visual aids? What are visual aids? Visual aids are, examples of visual aids: videos, pictures, caricatures, and realia. Thank you. شوف, I had a supervisee way back in 2013, I remember, or 12 or 13. And he had to, he was assigned, he was a member of my ESP groups, and I was his supervisor. And when I was explaining something relating to these, I mentioned the word realia, and then he burst into laughter. I still remember that. Now he is a teacher, by the way. قلت له مالك كضحك؟ قال لي رياليه. قال لي لا بارساويه ماشي رياليه. شوفي مشى له سميتو. شوف واش الانتربريتيشن. I didn't think about this at all. Okay. All right. Okay, so let's move on, please, to the next one. I think there is a next one. Yeah, كان الخير كان الخير. يلا سيدي نمشيو. She's win. Very good. Let's move on. 61. Choose the correct answer. Of course, in 61 we have which of the following is a writing subskill? Which of the following is a writing subskill? Is it previewing a text, understanding words in context, using cohesive devices, or understanding the meaning of cohesive devices? Allah يذكره بالخير. Okay, but it was very hard working, by the way. Okay, so which one in 61, please? C. كل شيء كاتب لي السي هنايا. Bien sûr, bien sûr. Because the others are more, sub-skills for reading comprehension or for reading comprehension. You preview a text when you do reading, you understand words in context when you do reading, and you understand the meaning of cohesive devices when you do reading. Yeah, coherence and cohesion, noninunus. Noninunus, you need Sumaya to write something about you again. Okay. All right. Thank you. So it's لا أستاذ لا for 61 السي أبو بكر لا لأن إذا قلنا previewing a text you are in reading comprehension. يعني you have a text and you have to read it, give it a preliminary reading, and then you read it. So it's not really a sub skill in writing, but using cohesive devices is. All right. So previewing a text, this is a pre-reading activity. You see, you can preview a text by looking at the title, looking at what we call advanced organizers. Advanced organizers. شوفوا هذا c'est un mot technique. Advanced organizers. Advanced organizers. كاين اللي كيقول لها advanced organizers وهو خطأ شائع والخطأ الشائع أصوب. Okay, خير من الصواب المهجور. Okay, but it's advanced, not advanced. لا ماشي مشكل بكر ماشي مشكل. You wanted to type C. صافي ماشي مشكل. You gave me the opportunity to say something to our friends in here. So it's C, absolutely. All right. Nice. 62. Which of the following is not part of a typical grammar lesson? يلا. Hypothesizing, is it part of grammar? Previewing, is it part of a grammar? Noticing, is it part of a grammar? And experimenting is, okay, part of a grammar. Which one? I would go, okay, I would go for experimenting. What are we going to experiment in a grammar lesson? There is noticing, there is the previewing, maybe of a rule, okay? But experimenting is more in research. Hypothesizing, yes, because you ask them to guess. Okay, you give them this opportunity to guess. Doesn't experimenting mean applying? No, applying is not experimenting. Experimenting is different. No, it does not mean applying, for sure. It means doing exercise. I'm afraid I cannot, it never occurred to me to hear this. Okay. Again, if it turns out that experimenting in grammar, how sure you are of this? Okay, thank you. So you are providing us with an extra information here, which would be, that's what I meant, exercises in any case. Okay, so In this case, I don't know. It's the one that is closest to the excluded meaning in light of this approach that our friend Dia is talking about. Okay, so since it's part of it, then the one that should be excluded here is it B? Because noticing is there and hypothesizing is there. Uh, Probably previewing, that's true. Ajit Fahm, it could be previewing. So presenting, observation, hypothesizing, experimenting. So experimenting is fine here. So the one that needs to go is previewing. Absolutely. So thank you, my friend, for adding this. I was not aware of that approach myself. So thank you very much for adding that to our knowledge. Honestly, so I should not shy away from saying that. Thank you very much. All right. Thank you, Abu Bakr. Thank you. There is experimenting, so it should be previewing. It's presumably because I am more influenced by research methodologies that I thought that experimenting was put there only because, it has to do more with research than with grammar. So thank you. So B should be the one that is out. Thank you very much. All right. Okay. So for 62, we have B, and our friend Diya. And another friend here, Abu Bakr, say that experimenting is part and parcel of one of the approaches, that constitutes, part of a grammar lesson. So thank you very much. All right, very nice. Okay, let's move on, please, to the ones. So we have 62. Let me move to 63. Yeah, 63. Okay. We have plenty of approaches. Yes, that's true. We have plenty of approaches, but the outcome is unfortunately not really satisfactory. Yeah, we do have plenty of approaches, yes. So let's see what Emma is doing here. In her lesson, Emma asked students to listen to a dialogue, repeat, memorize, and perform. So which one? This is somehow mechanical. This is mechanical, where you ask someone to memorize and let's see, it's the audio lingual method. I think we talked about it before. So thank you very much. That's absolutely right. In a grammar translation method, we have at least two languages, and the direct method, which would be, somehow, but we have memorize. Memorize here is exactly what forces C as a choice. All right, it's C. Thank you very much. It's C, yes. So which of the following is not true about project work? Project work means the project-based approach. Okay, 64 عندي A, it's a purposeful activity. B, it's accomplished in real life. Okay, and then C, it is proceeded, okay, in social environment, and it's a teacher-centered activity. Yes, of course, there is this. So we unanimously, agree that it's D. On the contrary, the project-based approaches are maybe reactions, or they are critical of teacher-centered approaches, where the teacher is at the center, as we have in question 63. So you are absolutely right in saying that it's D. Thank you. So let's move on, please, to the next one. This is very important. Et puis, this one. You have inner, and then we have space activity. Everyone shares their thoughts and ideas on a topic or issue. Do we say in a brainstorming activity, in a role-playing activity, in a practice activity, or in a repetition activity? All of you agree that it's A, so that's true because we in brainstorming, this is not really structured. Yes, Bubakar, I think you are referring to the previous questions. So it's A, absolutely, my friends. It's A. We have this brainstorming. It's a part of the writing process. And it's one of the first steps in the writing. That's last ذهني. That's true. Le brainstorming in French. Okay, nice. Number 66. The official guidelines for teaching English in Morocco states that the aim of the curriculum are in conformity with the four sets of values outlined in the National Charter for Education and Training. The underlined word aims, okay, refers to school expectations or national expectations, learners' expectations, or teachers' expectations. Which ones? See, Mustafa, you wrote state and you write that star. Did I miss something of what you have written, please? Tell me. يمكن كتبتي شي حاجة سي مصطفى ما شفتهاش. Okay, Q 66 is B. Yes, it's B. The reason is that this is based, look at this, the official guidelines. Where do the official guidelines come from? Who sends it's from the ministry? And the ministry says, as you can see here, says that this is based on the national, okay, charter for education and training, and this comes from the highest, authority, okay, the national charter. It's a very high level thing, so it concerns the nation. So this is these are national expectations rather than school expectations. By definition, it's the schools and learners, but topmost of these is the nation. Of course, these are national. Apart from that, so we have aims, and the nature of the aim, is broader than objectives and the purpose. And they concern, the general aspect of an educational activity. Okay, so 66, you are absolutely right. It's national expectations. Very good. Now, 67, my friends, in education, scaffolding means to reprimand. I like this. to reprimand learners who misbehave, to allow learners to work on their own faults, to support learners in solving their problems, and to do exercise and solve problems for learners. Which one? That's true, Si Abubakar. That's true. All right. See, Ashraf says 67 corresponds to C. Yeah, absolutely. Do you know what scaffolding is, my dear friends? Do you know where it comes from? The word, yeah, that's true, Hamza, that's true. Scaffolding comes from scaffold, and scaffold is a supporting, bar. It can be of iron, it can be of wood, that the building constructor stands on to construct the highest portions of the wall. And when this highest portion of the wall is built, he waits until it dries, and then he moves this bar upwards to stand on it again to continue. So absolutely, yeah, okay, it's not pillars, but ماشي pillars, l'échafaudage in French. Okay, so Ashraf, yeah, at the beginning of construction building, that's true. واش جميلة بدر معنا هنايا. You have been silent, Jamila. You are welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. Jamila worked under my supervision, both in her BA and also in her master. She is the example of someone who is, who relies on herself a lot and who struggles to achieve her goals. So, this was crowned with a very well-written thesis on translanguaging and its emancipatory potential. I didn't forget this, Jamila, so you are welcome. مرحبا بك. Okay, the zone of proximal development, yes, for sure, it's part and parcel of this zone of proximal development. All right, very good. Zizo from building, that's true. It has another meaning. I think it's giving less help. La, scaffolding does not mean give less help at all. It means to support someone in the context, in the educational context. I mean, this more knowledgeable other has to do the scaffolding. The teacher has to do the scaffolding. It has to imagine you have a reading task, and you have pre-reading activities. By the way, one of my students worked on produced a very nicely written BA on scaffolding as a pre-reading activity. So it can be as a pre-reading activity, okay? Good, but it can be used in grammar, in all sorts of, in whatever skill you teach, you can find supporting, you can find scaffolding, you can think of, think of scaffolding activities, okay? I think it means removing support gradually. Well, it's implied because after you support, you remove support, of course. But initially, it's to scaffold, it's to provide, it's to lend a hand or to prepare the environment so that the learner will achieve the highest level, and then of course you remove the support after so that he can go further. Okay, what is reprimand? You have the word reprimand, you have the word to blame, that's the most frequently used, but you have the word censure, you have the word rebuke, you have the word castigate. All these are synonyms. You have also the word rebuke, وَقِيلَ قُلْتُ. You have some archaic words like to berate and to belabor. And all these are, you have another weird word, it's to animadvert someone upon doing something. You have all these are, to admonish is another word. You see how many synonyms? You have that, rebuke, criticize, okay, despite the fact that there is some, they are not really on an equal footing. So for Fatima Salam, reprimand is one way of saying blame. Okay, good. So let's move on, ladies and gentlemen. So here to support learners in solving learning problems. So it's C, that's exactly what you have said. If you don't agree with anything, you just voice it the way you have voiced, disagreement or, with one of the questions before. 11 يلا نمشيو ل 11 ماشي 11 سي سلايد 11 دابا نمشيو كيستيون 68 very nice. أنا خصني نقرا هنا باسكو okay anyway. Relying on the linguistic data presented by the text in comprehensible input oh my god. I start in la comprehensible input level. It's comprehension. I'm so sorry. I'm very tired. Relying on the linguistic data presented by the text in comprehension is called, look at this, relying on linguistic data. You have a text and you rely on the noun, the verb, the article. You see, is it a bottom-up process? Is it a top-down process? Is it critical reading or is it critical thinking? I suppose this is easy. Tell me, please, ladies and gentlemen. Walu. It's A. Very good. So that's a bottom-up process. That's the bottom-up process. When you start from your background knowledge, okay, your schemata, etc. Hella, why? You know that there are these two approaches. Hella, in Lab 3, actually, you have the bottom-up, the top-down, and the interactive model, where you have the two active in concert. So, a strictly bottom-up way of reading. Bottom up means you have the bottom, which means what is written on the page. So stimulation comes from the words. and these words get into your brain, and processing takes place, and an interpretation is associated with that. So that's the bottom up. Okay. Top down, no. Top down, top down approaches are used by the top down approach is used generally by the skilled reader, where there is more reliance on background knowledge and then only secondarily on the text. So you have this, trade off between the two approaches. So here, the question is clear on this, because you say relying on linguistic data, not knowledge or what background knowledge or whatever. I'm afraid we cannot talk about inductive deductive here. Maybe in teaching grammar, yes, but not really here. Okay, number 69. Which of the following is not an example of alternative assessment? Is not an example of alternative assessment. Which of the following is not an example of an alternative assessment? C. كل شيء يقول C. Yes, because because the exam is is assessment in the traditional sense of the term. Traditionally, you study for a certain amount of time and you are given a final exam where you have to reproduce much of the content that you were taught. But of course, over the years, a number of theories and models were fleshed out that called for the use of or the recourse to alternative assessment. For example, in an interview, the interview is an alternative. Of course, you prefer not to give a final exam, but just to assess students through the interview, or by having them, and there are so many professors who do that, just a project. Okay, you work on the project and they give you a final grade, or just a quiz or quizzes over maybe the semester, 2 3 4 quizzes over the semester. That's alternative. And then you calculate them, you add them up and divide, and you give a grade. You see? Nice. So here it's the exam, of course. That's summative exam or just the exam. Thank you so much. Very nice. Let's move on, please, to the Subukari, I fully agree with you. That's why the exam is excluded here. Number 70, you have in a reading comprehension lesson, the teacher asks students to read the text title and subtitles in a text and choose the main idea. This reading strategy is called دعاء والله. You made me laugh. Hopefully they will do that. They might ask you to do a project and you come to your academic companion for discussion and life will be good. All right. But thank you. That's really funny. Thank you. Okay. So here for 70, I think we have not answered that. 70 is A. It's skimming, of course. There is this distinction or difference between skimming and scanning. But since we are talking about reading just the title and the subtitle and the text, technically these title, subtitle, etc., what are they called? They are called advanced organizers. ماشي advanced عافاكم باسكو بزاف الناس كيخطئوا في هذا الترم هذا. All right, so advanced organizers. Okay, good. So 70 علاش 70 D? No, you don't. No, there is not. No, it is not related to inferring at all. Maryam, no. You definitely need to know what skimming and scanning are. Scanning is specific information or fact. That's true. To skim the main idea, that's exactly what we have in here. 71, ladies and gentlemen, what we have in her writing lessons, Mrs. Erickson often gives her students a model and then asks them to create something similar. In this way, she is adopting the of writing. Which one? Do we say a prescriptive model, a descriptive model, a process approach, or a prescriptive approach, a process approach, a descriptive approach or a product approach. هنا كاين واحد شويه ديال confusion, but in a way it's clear. ماشي شي confusion. I think this is reflected in these answers that you have provided, my friends. It's D, of course. علاش it's D? Because in writing there are well-known approaches. لا ماشي ماشي علاش pour la simple raison que فاش كنهضروا على writing when we talk about writing راه دابا في الغالب غيسولوكم على هذا. خصكم تقراو شويه على شنو هو البروسيس رايتين وشنو هو النقيض ديالو اللي هو product writing or the product approach. The product approach is when you are given a model and you are asked to write something close to it. The process approach, you have to be aware of the processes that are involved in writing, like brainstorming, editing, drafting, etc. You see, revising, etc. So that's the process approach. Here, since she gave it to them this way, this is, of course, a product approach rather than a prescriptive. Prescriptive versus descriptive, it's in grammar, in language, linguistics in general. So you have a prescriptive and a descriptive approach. You have descriptive grammar and prescriptive grammar. But in writing, you have the process approach and the product approach. Number 72, which of the following tasks would you likely not see in a listening comprehension lesson? You see, خليني نقرا لكم لأن there is no way I could عرفتي شنو غندير. I think I will make this small enough and then re-upload so that you can answer comfortably. All right. Let me know if it's fine here. Yes, all right. So we have which of the following tasks would you likely not see in a listening comprehension lesson? Is it summarize the information that you hear? B, write down an end to the story? Is it a possible exercise, possible question? Or listen and repeat the words with E sound or fill in the chart with the information you hear? هنا كاين disagreement. Voilà. Donc أنا هنايا I have my own. I will wait until you finish. I may be convincing, may not be convincing, but this is for negotiation. Je ne détiens pas la vérité, right? But I will talk about it anyway. I would go with C. علاش C? Because when you teach listening comprehension, is it possible for you to ask this question, summarize the information that you hear? That's quite natural. Okay. B, write down the end of the story. Yes. For example, if you hear someone telling a story and then the passage stops, as a follow-up, you might, just to check your understanding of the story, you have to write, finish the story. Listen and repeat words with E sound. It could be that this is, if the passage is long, for example, how many E sounds are there? And anyway, here you are focusing on the micro aspect of listening comprehension. Although there might be activity like C, of course, that can perfectly fit. But here we are asked to exclude one. So which is the one? لأن هنا شوف la question انتبهوا la question عفاكم قال which of the following tasks would you likely? فاش كيقول لك would you likely? It means there is this little possibility that C can also be an activity, but it's the weirdest here in A, B, and C. C and D. C is the weirdest, type of activity expected in a listening comprehension task or activity. That's true. All right. C'est raison de plus, Dia. Thank you, Dia Jabbar. La pédagogue, Dia Jabbar. Thank you very much. Very nice. That's less likely. Absolutely. All right. So let's move on to is it the final or the pre-final? Oh, that's the last slide. Okay. Fortunately or unfortunately, God knows. All right. So let's move on, please. Here. Okay. بلاتي عندي شي حاجه سميتها باتور هنايا. See, Abu Bakr, since you ask them to write, you shift from, yeah, but شوف Abu Bakr, even in reading comprehension, you ask them to reflect on, that's a skill in listening comprehension. It's the way you react, of course. These are called follow-up activities, and they are very normal. تعلموا هذا follow-up activity. Follow-up activity is a part of your lesson where you integrate the skills. The skills have to be integrated. The reason why, when you teach reading, you end up, I'm sure you noticed, questions like these in reading comprehension. According to you, what would be the best? Partly based on the text, but partly based on your evaluation. The same goes for, for a listening comprehension task. Okay, nice. So that's fine. So Ashraf has, I think, has a very convincing answer here. The target is listening, but and you integrate whatever skill you see to help achieve the target. Thank you very much for putting it this way, see Ashraf. Okay, now let's move on, ladies and gentlemen, to this one here. I think I need to magnify this somewhat, and then, okay. You have this. A short activity that is used to prepare students for the lesson is called, what is it called? Is it a warmer? Is it a drill? Is it a chant? Is it a role play? مرحبا أبو بكر, مرحبا. Okay, very good, very good. So everyone is writing it's A. That's absolutely, I fully agree. It's A. It's called a warmer, or these are warm-up activities, or a warmer. Thank you. So I don't think we need to pursue this any further. Let's move on to question 74. We have, while preparing a reading lesson, Mr. Karimi realized that the text is loaded with new unknown words. New unknown words. Before dealing with the text, Mrs. Karimi should ask students to check all the words using their dictionaries, deal with the text the way it is, pre-teach all the new words separately before he starts dealing with the text, pre-teach only the words that are necessary for text comprehension. Absolutely, it's D. That's true. Another reason, apart from what Ashraf has said, another reason is that you are not in a class of vocabulary. Your focus is comprehension, is not vocabulary. So the fact of explaining those otherwise difficult words, you are doing this for pedagogical reasons, as a way of making the students go through the text without problems. You stop at every single word, the session will elapse and you have not defined those words. Okay, so it's good to select the words that you think can be a hurdle to the understanding and to the comfortable reading, the smooth reading of the text. Okay, thank you. Okay, number 75, unless you have a question, please. 75, at the beginning of each year, teachers give their students, you see, at the beginning of each year, teachers give their students a test. My friends, okay? Students a test to assess their basic abilities so that they can determine what part of the curriculum to start with. This is an example of what? What type of test is this? Is it a diagnostic test, an achievement test, an aptitude test, or a placement test? We have to be careful here. There is a competition between two options, but of course, one of them wins. In this case, it's A that wins because it's a diagnostic test. Diagnostic test, you are there, you use that test to discover your students level, and probably what to focus on. Why are you going to teach the present continuous if your students master that? If your students, if you give, if you give them a section where you feel that they have answered all the questions relating because they did it before. So you will skip that, and you will. It's one way of gauging. Thank you, students' strengths and weaknesses, and one way of and on the basis of that, the teacher has to act accordingly. Thank you. Can we move on, please, to 76? Elizabeth says that my God. Elizabeth says that her language, I'm really tired. Her language course is organized around topics like family, work, seasons, etc. This type of course is referred to as what type of course, and therefore what type of syllabus? Is it a skills based, a grammar based, a theme based, a function based? It's a theme based. Thank you very much, because it's built around themes. Thank you. That's absolutely right. And of course, we are left with the last question. That's question 77. Which of the following is more likely to follow the presentation stage of a structure in a grammar lesson? The presentation stage, okay, for 77. Presentation stage, is it doing practice exercises? That's after presentation. Writing a short paragraph using the target, that's probably a follow-up. Reading a text which contains the same structure. Okay, yes, okay, we'll come back to this. Asking learners to perform dialogues using the target structure. So it's more likely to be C here. C is the optimal, candidate. Of course, the right one. It's not even the optimal, because the others would not fit in the absence of C. Okay, my dear friends, maybe we need to bring this session to an end. I feel very tired, very, very tired. And anyway, why not A? Hella for 77, or Hella for 77, doing practice exercise about the target form. You see, هذاك الشيء كيجي مورا la présentation. Tu présentes la structure, ومن بعد كتعطي عليها un exercice. Okay, my friends, so I wish you good night. And if you are interested in more live sessions like these, all that you need to do is, thank you so much, Si Ahmed, thank you. If you find it interesting, after the live ends, do what you did yesterday, like the live after it ends, and write a little comment on it. سمعتوني ولا ما سمعتونيش? Many of you will disappear. You see? Don't disappear. Take 1 minute after the live is published on the channel. Go and write something there, whatever you write, whatever. Very good. A like first, and then, comments. Thank you very much once again, and have a good night.